Joining us now is Andrew Eborn, barrister and broadcaster and president of Octopus TV. Andrew Eborn, it's wonderful to see you again. Let's talk
about always a delight
Prince
to join
William.
Gabriella.
Oh, thank you very much. Now, Prince William has opened up about his son Prince George's future as king in an interview with Eugene Levy for his show The Reluctant Traveller. Now, Prince William spoke about the legacy he hopes that he and his son will create. What more can you tell us?
Well, I can tell you, I was honoured to be invited to the launch of that with Eugene Levy, and we basically went through a lot of the questions and the backgrounds as to the extraordinary revelations. It was the most open and candid interview Prince William has ever done, and he knew Eugene through American Pie. You might remember that glorious 1999 hit, which is why I think he got more from him than anybody else might have done, sort of traditional royal journalists. And one of the things I obviously wanted to ask Eugene was just what sort of access, what limitations he had as regarding the questions he could ask. And he said, look, there were no limits. He was surprised. He got an invitation at the Goring Hotel. It arrived, I think, in about January, and he was invited for a guided tour by Prince William. When Prince William first turned up, he turned up on a scooter. So he was the Prince of Wheels rather than the Prince of Wales.
Brilliant.
Which is lovely. But what I loved about the revelations, he talked about his family, how they wanted to be very ordinary and so on and so forth. And so they weren't allowed to have mobile phones. He tries to encourage them to sit down for meals together, at least one meal at the end of the day, where they can unpack those sort of stories. And that's what he wants to do. He hinted about his own traumatic childhood, something that I'm sure that the king would not be too happy to have aired in public. But he spoke about it. He said, look, we've learned from the mistakes of our parents. He obviously suffered a divorce when he was very young, and he wanted Prince George and the other two, Louis and Charlotte, to have a normal life, and that's what he tried to encourage them to do.
Yeah, it's interesting. I liked hearing that being mentioned, that he's quite strict when it comes to no phones at the dinner table, and that dinner's a really important time to talk to one another and really connect, Andrew.
Oh, absolutely. That's probably true for all of us, isn't it, Gabriella?
Absolutely.
You see people in restaurants now, they're all swiping left and swiping right and not paying attention to the person they're sitting with. So it's great advice. As I say, he was very humorous. It was the wittiest I've heard him for a long time. He was talking about how some tourists, he didn't say which nationality, were being shown around Windsor Castle. And he said, why on earth, a plane flew past. He said, why on earth did they build Windsor Castle in a flight path? Which we love, because obviously it was built in 1070 by William the Conqueror.
Yes.
So I don't think flight paths were thought of in those sort of days.
Oh, very funny. Look, he also spoke about the healthy competition between his children, between Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis, and it appears to come out on the trampoline. Is that right?
Absolutely. So what they try to encourage them to do is to exercise rather than look at screens all day. So they have this trampolining, which apparently is really good for you. It's good for your balance and good for getting all that sort of energy out there. But they fight each other on the trampoline. So the wonderful sort of under 10s, as they're both that sort of age, worked on that sort of basis. So that's what they're doing. They're bouncing. They're encouraging that sort of sibling rivalry and very, very competitive on that sort of basis.
You know, it's so relatable, isn't it? And there are also reports that Prince William and Princess Catherine have set up a pub quiz team, and they're now taking on locals weekly, not too far away from where they live.
Well, that's absolutely right. Well, one of the confessions that Prince William had is that he's not very good at history. So even though he was giving a guided tour of Windsor Castle, he was sort of turning around and saying, well, I didn't really know very much. But he is pretty good at football. So he knows his beloved team, Aston Villa. He knows quite a lot about them. But what he does, he takes his two elder children to the pub. Apparently, they have Team Wales who compete in the pub quiz on a regular basis. And that's what they do, that sort of very relatable side. And indeed, you had him having a pint. I told you I went and did the research for you last time. He would go to the pub with Eugene Levy and things like that, and have his pint of cider is what his favourite tipple was on that sort of occasion. But this pub quiz is what he does on a sort of regular basis, apparently, Team Wales. And what happens, we don't get told, however, just how good he might be.
Thank you so much for doing that research for us. We always appreciate it. We have to talk.
Oh, it's such a hardship, Gabriella.
I know it is. Now, let's talk about Queen Camilla and renovations, because I suppose renovating a house is relatable, but not quite renovating a room for Buckingham Palace. But she's pushing a specific change to Buckingham Palace as part of its £369 million renovation, which is 750 million Australian dollars. It's extraordinary. Now, despite boasting more than 700 rooms, Buckingham Palace is without a library. So, Andrew, Queen Camilla has reportedly been pushing for this change.
Oh, absolutely. They've got 775 rooms in Buckingham Palace. Can you believe it? I have visited it myself, not necessarily all the rooms, but work on that sort of basis. But the one room they don't have is a library, and they've been renovating since 2017. It costs that eye-watering figure, and we all know anybody who's having housework done, they know it always takes time. It always takes a lot longer than anticipated. But in spite of those 775 rooms, the one thing it doesn't have is a library, because what happened is King George IV, he donated the King's Library to the British Museum. I think it was in 1823. And since then, it hasn't had one. So poor old Charles, he's very worried about how much the whole thing is costing. And the Queen says, well, one room we need, just a few million more. It's a library, and she's a real bookworm. She loves books. Jilly Cooper was a very close friend of her, the author who died sadly a few days ago at 88. She was really, really close to her, and one of the characters in her wonderful books was based on Camilla's ex, so it worked on that sort of basis. But she loves her books, and that would be one room that she wants to have in Buckingham Palace.